Summoners, can you hear me? Because I'm here, studio, welcoming you back to the Mobafire Challenger Series. I am being joined by the amazing EG80er feed. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good, and we're finally getting things underway after a little bit of delay. Apparently, Skibbergus hit a little bit of traffic when he was heading to his LAN center to play, so they ended up being late, and now Denial gets no bans.
Zero bans. They actually asked me a second ago, like as I was transitioning out of OBS to this overlay to the actual game. It's like, can we have bans? And I'm like, not the person to talk to right now. Hopefully they can get that sorted out because you have 12 seconds before their ban goes away, or at least the first ban. And I mean,
Yeah, they don't get bans, so
it's denial
I,
versus complexity.
I don't know. They're not going to ban out those main champions that I usually see probably play. That Jace, that Kennen, that Rumble. He plays a strong Annie, so it's going to be pretty interesting to see if Complexity does pick up most of their main champions. They are banning out Enox's Nidalee, though, so we'll wait for them to ban out the second ban, and then wait for the ban timer to ban out for Denial.
Now, the funny thing is, for denial, normally it's like, alright, we got joke banned, let's ban out joke characters. Who is someone no one is ever going to use? And just get rid of that guy, Hammerdinger. Someone like that. The thing is, it's probably on complexity, and probably will play anything if he thinks it'll work. So, they don't have that choice anymore. They just gotta wait that sucker out. And that's kind of the scary thing about Probably. You mentioned banning him out, but the thing with Probably, I mean, you can ban him out, sure, but will actually stop him. You can ban out a scary champion, but he's got a lot of scary champions, and he's going to have a lot he can still pull out of his bag of tricks.
Yeah.
Now, Mega Zero also gets no bans, and I think that's actually the scarier thing. That's where I'd want to direct my bans. Because it's Mega Zero. He's Mega Zero. He is shown he is really proficient at some top laners, and can just carry a game on his own back if he can just get out of control. And there are characters he can get out of control with right now. Don't tell me I'm muted. Don't tell me I'm muted.
You're perfectly fine.
Okay.
I was listening to the stream before, I made sure.
Like, the second I switch to the intro, I'm like, I unmute the mic, I will not forget this. Not this time.
But yeah, the final band's coming out. Twisted Fate, Lee Sin. That Lee Sin targeted at Scuba Chris. He is a very dominant solo queue Lee Sin player. And yeah, I'm interested to see what they're going to snatch up first. Because they didn't ban, but there's a lot in the pool still left open. Like that Thresh. So we could potentially see Glebe Glarblu gonna take that one for himself as support. So highly contested support pick gets picked up.
There's a Thresh, there is, all those scary champions like Zac, Elise. The scary junglers are all available except Lee Sin. Lee Sin was banned out, and it's going to be interesting to see what they pick up. Complexity, I'd say they really have the better, draw out of this. Glarbu does get Thresh, is a great character, but now with all the OP that's been left open because there were only 3 bans this game, well, what are they going to do now? The world is their oyster. They can pick a lot of champions, and they're all mostly safe.
Yes, I don't know. I could see Jace, I could see Kennen, I could see... Oh man, I'm just gonna scroll to the list because everything's open. Everything good is open still. We have Zed, we have Vayne could be picked up as well. We saw a dominating performance from Wiz Fusion on that one last game. Shen, see...
It's like Nasus, Renekton, Shen, Zed, just combos that are really effective. Like Shen Zed, for example, Shen will ult on the Zed, Zed will then activate his ult. By the time he lands, Shen's about to get there. They could be going for that Nami first. Now, Nami Ryze, that's actually a pretty solid combo in itself, just because Nami gives Ryze a lot of options. He can get that DPS off, and of course, Nami's just become a top-tier support. I want to say, but it was just one of those people, her getting constantly buffed, and it was just eventually the day where she was buffed enough that people actually started looking at her.
Yeah, and I really like Nami now. She is one of the more contested picks now in the support role. That Tide Caller's Blessing on the ability, the bubble that lasts 2 seconds, the heal that bounces and can harass at the same time. And I like the pickup of Ryze too. That can go mid, that can go top. We could see Mega Zero playing that one, or probably. We'll see what they decide to do with that. But on the side of Denial, they have Thresh. That bot lane is going to be one hell of a lane. He's got the Descendants, he's got the Flay, he's got the Lantern for the pull ganks, he's even got the box to slow anybody that does connect with one of the walls. We do have Elise being hovered over right now. Could go top, could go jungle, could see it mid. Hell, we'll see her in support if we want to. But Graves is going to get locked in instantly, so we most likely to see Flappy Bearfish on that one. And they're still hovering over the Elise, deciding what they want to do.
Elise, I think the Elise pick is going to be solid. Elise Graves. Now, imagine that bot lane gank if Elise ever shows up. Just because, one of the problems bot lane is that it's hard to get around all the ward coverage. You have to get past the support that is just dropping those like eggs before an Easter hunt. But now with Thresh, just show up from lane, toss out the lantern. If you want to be extra safe, don't walk through Tribush because people didn't have that warded, even on the opposite side. And it's not necessarily a guaranteed gank, but it is a guaranteed surprise engagement. Like, they can predict you coming, but you will still always appear at a fog of war in a moment's notice.
Very true. You don't want to walk into a death sentence or cocoon for that matter. Gonna be a lot of CC, so nobody wants to get hit by that or caught out by that. But on the side of complexity, they still have a lot of good catch potential themselves. Bubble, Runic Prison, we'll see what they pick up as well for Prowly, Chuper. 8 seconds left. Looks like Vayne and Nocturne. And Ninja Ken's Nocturne in solo queue, from what I've seen, is a monster. And I don't think I've ever really seen Chuper play Vayne, so this is going to be a first for me. But on the side of Denial, they have Nunu. Uh-oh.
That Nunu option is available. I mean, it's not going to be support Nunu. I mean, rest in peace. It had its fair run. And Jack's being looked at. All right, let's see what they do with this, because the problem with Graves is eventually he has range issues. He does get a lot of range from his ultimate, but his auto attack range is only 525, which is fairly mediocre in the end. The buckshot, it's great burst damage up close, but it's not long range. So they kind of need something to fill that gap. Not necessarily be a hard late game carry, but someone that can be a super big threat in the front line that has to be focused down, so Graves has a chance to just get those shots off.
Yeah, very true. And we do have Jax being hovered over right now, and I don't think that Hybridinger is going to locked in. That's going to be switched fairly soon. Yep, there's Ahri, so we're going to see Nami Pooh Bear most likely take that one into mid lane, and this could be a jungle Jax, but I think it's going to go top.
I would assume it's top Jax, but top Jax matchups, I don't know how they go anymore. And the thing is, it could be Ryze top lane, it could be Ryze mid lane. I'm pretty sure Ryze does perfectly fine versus Jax top lane. And even if he didn't, they don't have to put him top lane. They can put him mid lane. Ahri versus Ryze, kind of a rough matchup for Ryze, actually. Ahri's got a lot of early damage, a lot of early CC, something Ryze can't really match up with early, but he just has to survive lane, and eventually Runic Prison completely destroys Ahri. It's like, what the hell are you going to do? You don't have an ultimate available, you're rooted in place, you got to sit there and then just watch Ryze hurl spell flicks at you.
Yeah, it's going to be very hard to deal with. And it looks like we're just missing that top and or mid pick for Prowly or Mega Zero, depending on what they want to do. And that Renekton you mentioned earlier is going to be locked in.
Wait, is it?
All right.
There we go. All right, yeah. that's a Renekton. That's a solid pick overall too, because they were missing that
hard
reliable.
engage.
Yeah, they have the hard engage from Nocturne.
From Nocturne, yeah.
But they don't have reliable beefiness, because Nocturne, he can always get into a fight, but he's a jungler. Junglers don't necessarily get all that much farm. You kind of want to get Snowball on Nocturne, and there's just a chance that Nocturne will get nothing and die. And it's unfortunate when it happens, but, Renekton, even if he gets nothing and he dies a lot, he'll hit level 6, he'll get bonus HP. He can always be a spooky threat, a scary threat. Get around Renekton, not likely to happen. He's just going to slice, dice, and stun you.
Yeah, very hard to deal with. And let's see, we're going to have a Nami Vayne going up against a Graves Thresh. That lane is solely dependent on if those bubbles and death sentences connect. There's a lot of burst damage from Graves, as Vayne is fairly squishy in the early game, but they have the sustain from that ebb and flow coming out from Nami. In the mid lane, we're going to see Prowly taking Ryze against Nubby Pooh Bear's Ahri. Battle of who can hit 6 and get as much burst as possible, with the late game going to be very devastating there. In top lane, we have Jax going up a Renekton. I'm not too familiar with that matchup. I'm not too sure, but I think Renekton's a little bit in the favor there.
Renekton versus Jax, I believe Renekton has the early advantage. Eventually, it reaches a point where any sort of sustained fight, Jax will win the engagement, but Renekton can just kind of walk away from anything too scary. I kind of want to see Jax in the 1v2 lane, though. I don't like saying that because Jax is not a good 1v2 champion, but no. I really feel that Elise Jax can get some kills on Amaya. Chuper is going to be hard to lock down because of Condemn, because of the tumble. But if they go for Amaya, Nami is squishy. Jax has a reliable stun. Elise has a reliable stun off of Jax CC, so I think they can combo together quite well.
Yeah, very true. And It looks like also we didn't talk about the Nocturne and the Elise jungle. We have the repel ganks coming out from that Elise, gonna be able to get in, close the distance very fast. Have Cocoon, have the Neurotoxin Venomous Bite combination, dish out a ton of percentage damage based on current health and missing health. And then the Nocturne ganks, I don't see them being too efficient too early, as these lanes can play fairly safe. That Fear Tether is a bit of a threat though. He does have the Q ability to throw out a slow and give him some extra movement speed while he travels across it. And then the Darkness coming out in that ulti to close the distance in that level 6 stage of the game. And yeah, we're heading into that minute-and-a-half delay point. We're going to run a quick set of ads, disable the ad blocker, and support the sponsors, IOI Power, Fatality, Gaming Gear, and Razor Academy, and we'll be right back.
Just gonna wait for that loading screen to pop on right back up. Let's go ahead and actually take a quick moment to see how the teams are doing in the actual, tournament itself. EG, to your feed. Are you there? Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right,
yes,
there we go. There we go.
Didn't get to unmute my mic right there. And yeah, so the first game of the day goes to Team Summon in a fairly dominant performance against Exerted Zeal. Didn't really expect it to be that much of a rollover, but
That
Team
was a
Summon,
pretty big stomp, yeah.
Yeah, they did a really good job with that one. And seeing Reap 22 on a Nivea mid was a pretty big change for him. I'm used to seeing him in the jungle.
Yeah, looking at the records for these two teams, Complexity currently 1-1. Before we had actually looked at Team Summon's score, I realized that's not who I want to look at right now. And Denial currently 2-0, so Denial coming into this with a perfect record. And I want to see if they can really, keep their commanding lead. They were a solid team. A lot of these teams were in the relegations trying to make it into LCS. Denial, well, they were there too. We're quite able to make it out of the earlier brackets of the group stage, but, they're still a good team. They've still shown the proficiency. Let's go ahead and get to the loading screen.
Yep, and
go ahead and get to the in-game screen.
A little bit off on everything right now, but we're all good as we get into this. And yeah, so going to see pings right now. We could potentially see a early invade from Complexity already, as all the pings are going down. They're heading over there. Looks like they're sending Megazir to scout out top, but 4 members of Complexity are going to look at the red and or blue buff invade.
Pings going on to this section of the map. They have a really good invade team. Jax has counter strikes done, already has a charm. If anybody shows up late on the side of Complexity, that's almost a free invade. They can get somewhere, but both sides were quick to respond. No one spent too long buying.
Nope, not at all. Bought those items as quick as possible. Little early ward drop from Glebe Blue. Gonna get that ramp covered. They ping onto that. Doesn't look like they're gonna send a pink to go over there, as now that entrance is warded. And it looked like MIA was motioning to go towards a ward drop at the entrance of the red buff for the side of Denial, but couldn't get there in time, unfortunately, so it doesn't get it off. And there are pings going down as everybody from the side of Denial is grouping up at the dragon, and they're motioning and running towards it. There's a ward drop. The Spiderling comes out to scout out. They do spot out Chuper. He's gonna tumble away. Flash Descendants gets flashed away from Chuper. He will be able to stay alive from that one, but now his flash is down, so that laning phase is gonna be a little dangerous as MIA progresses to the blue buff and drops a ward.
I gotta say, that was a very, very manly move from Glebe Larbu. Now his flash is down as well, and the thing is, a support without flash up. Yes, Thresh is fairly tanky, but he still doesn't have a good escape mechanism of his own. And would be entirely dependent on his own CC. Still, though, manly play, he went for it because Chuper used the tumble preemptively.
Mm-hmm.
That meant that he didn't have a good escape, but it looks like we might have a fight breaking down as there's 4 members from Complexity looking for it. Nubby Pooh Bear, you are in danger.
No, there's the bubble. There comes the stun as well. Exhaust, Runic Prison, auto attacks. Oh, MIA takes that one for himself. Support getting the first blood. Gonna be nice with that extra 400 gold. And Complexity gets a blue buff steal in response to, as well as first blood.
I gotta say, that was an interesting play. They took a big risk there because Nebby Pooh Bear could have been caught out, but he could have just flashed out the engagement. He saw his flash up. But then when Garble walked by, that was it. What could they do to not get the kill? Like, they had to either get engaged on right then and there, but they knew Nebby Pooh Bear was split off, or, you know, Glebe Garble would have had to flash out of that. But where was the flash? Already gone. So a huge kill. That's incredibly important because these lanes can snowball quite hard.
Yeah, and with Nami picking up the first blood, she actually got a Ruby Crystal as W Pooh Bear drops an Ignite. There is the Q coming out, going to hit him back with the true damage. Ignite, auto attacks, flash! No, cannot get the extra auto attack as the movement speed from probably going to keep him alive. He's in the utility tree quite heavily. And yeah, so good job by Nami Pooh Bear to use the advantage and keep harassing Probably down. Well, we might have a gank from Ninja Ken up top as a double bubble connects from there as Dessa disconnects, but Inox gets initiated on up top. Red buff gonna slow him down. Fear connects with a flash. Auto attack from Ninja Ken picks up that kill. And now we can see Scuba Chris counter jungling Ninja Ken and taking the blue buff of his own. But there's gonna be a little contest. There's a venomous bite coming out, and Scuba Chris gets chunked down pretty hard. Buckshot, MIA getting focused out by Flappy Bearfish. But Flourish flashed out, and Dessa connects on a Trooper, gets ignited. There is the pull coming back. The Flay, is the Ignite gonna be enough? Flash from Flappy Bearfish. He knows he's dead, gonna try to pick up a kill, but Bubble from MIA will pick up that, and help from the turret as well. But they do steal blue buff and get 1 for 1.
Bubble in trouble as Amaya is just picking up these kills. Scuba Chris, though, not letting him get that for free. As Amaya, just casually taken down. They had the ward down. They knew he was going down and plays it and just trying to scout out for that information. Unfortunately, Maya just getting a bit too manly. He does have the 2 kills, but you know, it doesn't really give him that tankiness yet. He does have a Sightstone though. It's weird start, but importantly, Inox did go down in the top lane. That sets up a snowball for Renekton. Renekton now has 2 assists, did not secure the kill. But Nocturne getting a kill is actually really strong too. Nocturne can snowball, he can gank every lane relatively reliably. Eventually Ahri's going to be kind of tough with her escapes. But in the end, if that's an out-of-control Nocturne, Graves is getting away from him. Thresh isn't, Jax isn't. There aren't ways to get away from Nocturne with that tether up, especially with all the flashes. Just all of them being blown this game.
Yeah, and early game, I see nobody up with the flash besides Ninja Ken right now. and Mega Zero, excuse me. Well, on the side of Denial, nobody has a flash on the seat besides Scooby Chris on that Elise juggle. So gonna be a little bit while till those are all up, and we do have just farming going down up bot. Fluffy Bearfish is by himself, waiting for Glarbo to join him. The bubble gets quick draw away. Fluffy Bearfish is gonna dodge that one nicely. And yeah, Ninja Ken is going into the mid lane right now. Not scared of anything, just run straight towards W Pooh Bear, does not care. But there could be Elise counter gank coming out, probably a little bit low on mana. And yeah, it's gonna have a Condemn going to Glebe Garblu, as well as auto attacks from Trooper. Has that Tidecaller's Blessing slow him down to shed a little bit of extra AD damage, or magic damage, excuse me. And yeah, so overall, a fairly good start for Complexity.
It's solid for them. They're just going to keep pushing up, keep applying pressure. They want Ninja Ken to hit that level 6 ASAP, because the Nocturne can get before level 6. We already saw it happen. It was solid, but now with that early kill, he needs to buy some items. He needs to show up and just dominate a lane. Mega Zero up top lane, he's just chain pushing into Jax. Jax, he can see us under tower fairly well, but it's just some annoyance pressure. I think he's just kind of waiting for level 6 himself. Like, a lot of these lanes just kind of want to hit 6 right now. Bot lane, Graves has a kill, Vayne only has the assist, so they actually might have a small advantage because Nami, she does have more HP, but the Sightstone doesn't really help her in combat. I think that'd be the only unfortunate thing about those first bloods and the early kills. They went to Nami, which gave her great vision of the map, but now in lane they're sitting next to each other. They're not that good at fighting. Yeah,
and that Silence Flay combination really hard to deal with, especially with Buckshot Quick Draw coming out. Even the canister could do a little bit of damage from that one. And yeah, as you said, it's not going to provide her with too much combative damage, but it gives her the extra HP, which is really important in that lane, because Nami, not really the tankiest of the supports, as opposed to Thresh, who gets that extra armor from his passive and the souls that he collects. And just going to keep looking at top while Mega Zero slices dices in. Going to throw a Cola Meek as well, pressure a little bit. Glebe Glab, we're going to go ward that river, and Flappy Bearfish is just going to keep CSing in that bot lane, as he is about 8 CS ahead right now.
Look at the size of that big old creep wave. That cannon creep, he does secure it. Super dodging. Dodging! Cannot stop dodging. It was a tumble dodge into a normal dodge, you know, just gotta mix up those dodges, but that big old creep wave will give him quite a bit of CS. Definitely put him in the lead if he can secure a lot of it. Gonna be tricky though.
Yep, and we do have Elise waiting in that mid lane, being very patient, while Flappy Bearfish and Gleekwabu are being pressed right now. There's Ninja Ken going in with the darkness. Exhaust goes down. MIA gets focused. The Ignite not going to be enough to pick it up. He does heal. Gets away just barely, especially with leveling up. Chuper not going to be able to chase down Gleekwabu, unfortunately, as he will just walk right out of that one. Ninja Ken is still there with Chuper, as they thought they were going to go try to cut off MIA, but they just went towards the blue buff, being Scuba Chris and Nibby Pooh Bear. And Inox's tower is getting pressured pretty heavily up top. It's at about 1/3 of its HP.
Ooh, Mega Zero good position, probably being CC'd though.
Yep, looks like they're going in. There's the ultimate coming out. The Charm connects at max range, and the Ignite and the auto attack from Nubby Pooh Bear will take that kill. So good gank coming out from Scuba Chris, as well as follow-up from Nubby Pooh Bear.
The kills across the board. Who's coming farther and farther ahead though? It is Complexity. They have that 1300 gold lead. A lot of that's got to be, I'd say, just from the jungle CS, but yeah, Elise only at 23 CS versus Nocturne's 31. Nocturne, of course, having I'd say a bit more reliable of an early lead with his kill. And of course, Nocturne is very, very proficient at clearing the jungle with his passive. But I'm scared. Nocturne, he's 2-0-1. He's just going to start getting every kill he possibly can. I'd say every ultimate cooldown should be an almost guaranteed kill.
Yeah, we do have Mega Zero still pressuring this top lane, doing a lot of damage to that one. Bubble not going to connect. That Tide Color's Blessing going to slow auto attack. There's the third proc from Silver Bolts. And nothing else going to come out from that one just yet. Well, we do have the blue buff being warded from the side of Denial. It looks like he's going to go in. Now Scuba Chris forces the repel, goes in, gets feared anyway, actually, as it does go up. Inox is there. Cocoon connects. Ninja Ken getting forced on. He's going to shield the stun, though. Gets a lot of damage coming out. Flashes, gets the auto attack onto Scuba Chris, while probably gets initiated out from W Pooh Bear. Inox taking a lot from that one. Does get the leap onto Ryze right there, but picks up the kill for himself. Inox going to run away, as blue buff is most likely going to be stolen in favor of Complexity.
Golem stealing the minion right there. And, you know, Nami Pooh Bear's looking for the seal. Cannot secure it, though. The smite was available to Ninja Ken. Gotta give him the props, though. And this is the thing about Nocturne. The movement speed buffs from the Duskbringer, the damage bonus, the 45 AD, that is so huge at low levels. You know, people are level 6, they don't have that much HP. 45 extra auto attack damage is just, it's immense. The fact that he can now survive with the early Ancient Golem pickup means that he's tanky, he has really high base damage, so the fact that he has a built damage item isn't that big, and it's going to be hard for them to take him down as top turret finally goes down to the constant pressure. 88 CS to 39 CS up in the top lane.
Damn, 48 CS lead for Mega Zero, completely dominant in that top lane. And yeah, even with the pressure from Ninja Ken, that was a really good job and keeping Mega Zero ahead at all times. He even picked up a Tiamat for his first back.
Tiamat's a really cool Renekton item. It's got tankiness, of course, so that is what it lacks, but it does provide him with quite a bit of damage, and it provides him with an extra spell.
Yeah.
So it's a 1-to-1 ratio he just picked up for free. Well, relatively 1-to-1.
Oh, and a Kindle Gem, excuse me. The extra CDR, too, so we could potentially see him go for a Spirit Massage with that. I don't think there's anything else that he majorly pick up with a Kindle Gem on Renekton.
Massage can work. You can also just have a Kindle Gem just because it's efficient, it's HP, it's CDR, what does Renekton have? Long cooldown, so he needs the CDR, and what does he need to do? Tank up, so he needs the HP.
And we do have a Death Sentence not going to connect. Scuba Chris and Ninja Ken both down bot. There's the darkness coming out. Gleekwabu gets bubbled. The box is activated, but does not stop anybody. MIA forced to run. Cocoon comes out, does not connect. Looks like Scuba Chris going to chase on this one. The exhaust, the collateral damage does not connect. Flash from MIA keeps him alive. Ninja Ken going to focus down Scuba Chris, but Chuper picks up that one. Flappy Bearfish going to try to make this even, dodges the bubble. Has Nami Pooh Bear there. Going to try to go in with the Ninja Ken. Shields what he can. It looks like the quick draw coming in. Nami Pooh Bear trying to dive. Doesn't connect the charm, though. Taking the tower, gonna back off, and they go 2 for none in favor of Complexity, while Inox getting initiated on by Mega Zero. Gonna let him sit at the tower, the dodge activated, and gonna try to CS while Mega Zero looks to possibly dive. He's going in, Ignite Drop, Call of the Meek, Tiamat activated as well. Gonna have that dominance coming out, auto attack, slice and dice, picks up the kill, and globally that is a 3 for 1. I mean, 3 for none, actually, excuse me.
Complexity just tearing across the map. I gotta give credit to Inox. He thought, you know what, Mega Zero still has slice and dice, but Chris shows up and is like, nah, this isn't gonna work. Gleekwabu is here though. They can try and pick up this kill. The Death Sentence does not land.
Slice and dice, does he have flash? He does actually have a splash. He's gonna go through the wall. Wow, really nice play. That slice of miss came off, slice to the wall, knew that they didn't have flash.
He's
Steve
not out
probably
of
told
danger
him.
yet, though.
Uh-oh, Nami Pooh Bear cutting him off. I was wrong, excuse me. There's the Q coming out, auto attacks, and a slice of miss into a charm. Nami Pooh Bear picks up the kill, and they catch him out. But Dragon is going to go to Complexity.
A-okay with that trade. I'm pretty sure Complexity's feeling very, very okay. It's like, alright, Lester, you're Mega Zero. He's a pretty nice guy, but let's pick up the Dragon for free anyways. So, these kills across the board, watching Flappy Bearfish try and chase people down, it's the Nami speed buff, it is Chuper's natural mobility as Vayne, it is the fact that Nocturne gets to move really, really fast from Dustbringer. So, he could not keep up with anybody. Like, they almost kill Nami. What happens? Nami gets away with no HP. She sped herself up quite a bit. They almost kill Vayne. What happened? Well, Vayne got Nami speed and she tumbled away. They almost kill Nocturne. He's just really fast because of Dustbringer. And they just do not have that close capabilities, at least not without Ahri already there. They might need to Ryze just to keep people in range for Graves.
Yeah, and... Yeah.
Let's see, this is a 3,000 gold lead in favor. Complexity, super fast, 13 minutes in. This reminds me a lot of last game, but there at least are more kills going towards Denial right now.
Yeah, for sure. And Ninja Ken also has that Spirit of the Ancient Golem, so he's got that extra 500 HP regen, mana regen, and the cooldown reduction coming out from that one. So going to be quite the threat to be dealt with. And he also gets the extra damage to minions. The tenacity from that as well helps out with all the CC that is on the side of Denial. So really strong build coming out from him, especially this early on being 3, 0, and 3. So he's a monster.
He's already picking up the Negatron Cloak. Something I love, by the way, about the... Or, that's actually Ryze, my mistake. But something I love about the Nocturne pick. If Thresh lands a Death Sentence onto Ninja Ken, and Ninja Ken already has his fear on somebody, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's like, alright, cool, you've scared me, or you've pulled me, I'm just going to scare someone anyways. The fear still triggers. So it's an interesting way to kind of get around that mechanic. Death Sentence is an amazing CC, but if he still gets his own CC up in response, yeah, he loses damage, but it's fine. At last fight, actually, Ninja Ken, he was just looking to absorb Death Sentences because it was just so easy for him to deal with. Pooh Bear is looking for a kill, though.
Yeah, and Locked of the Iron Slaughter was finished first by Renekton, by Mega Zero on the Renekton. The blue buff is awarded currently. We could see a little fight over there as there are 3 members to the 2 of Complexity, 3 in favor of Denial. Bot tower going to be pressured by Chuper and MIA at this point. And they actually do force him back out. The Cocoon connects on him, probably. There's the canister, there's the Neurotoxin coming out. Collateral damage, they force the flash, but the repel on any turret with the Venomous Bite. Ignite Drought from probably, but it's not enough. Death Sentence connects through the shield. Ninja Ken going, getting initiated on. Charm connects as well, but he's just so tanky. The Darkness goes in. Inox does not get the flash, though. Ninja Ken flashes over the wall, forces Nami Pooh to flash after him, but gets the auto attack, gets the red buff. They're going to try to keep chasing after Mega Zero. Flappy Bearfish is heading up top as well. Looks like Mega Zero going to try to live to this one. Red buff slow. Flay getting knocked back. Dodges the charm for him, though. Glee Blubber missing the Death Sentence. Going to keep fighting. Looks like Mega Zero going to get ignited from Glee Blubber. Auto attacks. Going to finish him off. Oh, never mind. The ignite from Glee Blubber is going to finish him off in that trade. And they defended blue buff. And they picked up 2 kills from that one. Really good job overall. And they picked up probably a mid lane.
A total of 3 kills. I mean, they finally took down that Mega Zero raid boss. What purples did he drop? But... you know, they lost Bot Tower, they just lost the second tower bot lane. Super Chris himself gets stunned up, and they're not going to get anything out of this chase, so it's like, yeah, they won the fight, but they're losing the war in the end. They need the map control, they need to be able to do more across the map, and in the end, an overzealous play coming out from Complexity is not necessarily going to hold them back. They still got a lot out of that engagement. Now they can just kind of ignore bot lane forever. And you mentioned the Lock of the Iron Slaughter pick. I love it because A, CDR and HP is great for Renekton, and also that shield, it may not be the biggest shield in the world, only 160 damage right now as Renekton's only level 11. He'll go all the way up to 230, but, wait, well, yes. 170, like I'm trying to do math in my head on the fly. Apparently addition is a bit too tough, but that extra 230 HP at level 18, or even just whatever he can dish out early on, that's going to be huge for Chuper. Chuper, if he gets a little bit of HP, he's going to be playing someone who, if she doesn't die at the beginning of a fight, she will survive, lifesteal right back up, and just be in great condition. So, essentially, anything he can do to keep Chuper alive will be huge.
Yep. And on the side of Denial, they're going to have that shield from Thresh coming out. They're trying to save everybody the box, as well we saw before, to disengage. But after that last fight, I'm feeling pretty good for Denial to come back into this one, even though they are about 5,000 gold behind. So, and a couple towers and dragon behind. So it's a pretty big deficit, but they can come back. It's okay. Nothing's ever out of range for League.
It's a big list. Is also the 70 CS lead from Mega Zero up in the top lane. Like you're right, they're not out of it yet, but they need to find a way to make sure Vayne just doesn't go out of control. They need to make sure that, you know, eventually Ahri will land her charms, Jax can jump on her safely. It's going to be tough though because as you can see, Jax can't really harm Mega Zero.
Just pops the locket, just twirls around the tower. The stun comes out from Inox. Just gonna slice and dice his way out of that one. And Inox is still chasing though. We see Blue Blubber motioning up there. While Scuba Chris is gonna try to stop MIA from getting the pink ward in that brush. They are going to trade the pink wards. So they go 1-for-1 on ward kills. So nothing too big from that one. While Mega Zero initiates back onto Inox. Coldemic does a lot. Trooper goes in the final hour chasing after Flappy Bearfish. Gets the third hit. The collateral damage. A flash. The Condemn is gonna pick up the kill. What a stun him on a turn if he lived. But Scuba Chris is gonna try to clean this one up. Comes out with those spider lanes. Gonna transform. Neurotoxin picks up the kill. So 1-for-1 overall that. But they're going back into mid lane. Sharp connects in the MIA. The Lantern actually was there but did not click on it. Pooper just gonna ulti away from that one. Not going to try to trust his clicking ability with that Lantern, as people do tend to miss it sometimes. And they lose mid-tower for that one, though.
They do survive, but once again, just losing more map objectives, losing more control. At the end, Trooper does die, and it's actually 1-for-1 with an assist in favor of Complexity, so a slight win there. But what do they lose? They lose mid-tower because they could not hold with a numbers disadvantage. Inox continues to be pressured up in the top lane, as well Mega Zero can do just whatever he wants. If Mega Zero wants to do something, Jax cannot stop him on his own. He needs the help of his team.
Yeah, and if you look at the money that Mega Zero currently has, he has 1,500 extra gold in his inventory. Gonna be 1,700 when that dragon does fall. If it does fall, the Complexity of Scuba Chris kind of contests right now. Ward's coming out. Scuba Chris gonna let the dragon reset, scare away Ninja Cannon probably from doing that one. And yeah, now we have a potential for a 5v5 right now, as everybody is grouping up towards that mid lane. That dragon is going to be the next point. Trooper goes to the final hour, flashes over the wall, Blade of the Rune King, auto attack comes out, but Flappy Bearfish clicks the Lantern and goes to the middle of Complexity. They're gonna chase him down. Ebb and Flow picks up that kill from MIA, so they go 2 for none and are going to most likely pick up dragon after that. So a little bit of a poor placement from Blue Arbu, unfortunately, but Trooper capitalizing on that one phenomenally.
I think they just assumed they could respond in time, that with Vayne flashing over the wall, no one would be able to back her up in time. But unfortunately, by the time Flappy Bearfish got there, Blue Arbu was already dead, and it was already in position, probably just being destroyed in the mid lane.
Just got completely one-shot by that one. The ultimate came out, and there's an Abyssal Scepter on that Ahri right now, as opposed to the Negatron Cloak and No Magic Mantle that was just picked up by Prowley. So he's trying to deny that damage, but he didn't have that No Magic Mantle beforehand, and just got shredded completely.
The nice thing about picking up an Abyssal Scepter is that Jax is very mixed damage. So Empower is magic damage, his ultimate is magic damage, and you know, getting a little bit of anti-magic resistance, it's gonna be a big deal if they can get those secure hits in. The thing is, Graves, you know, he's at 123 CS, he's 144, not getting kills, not getting farm. His physical damage is really kind of meandering off, and they just don't have anything secure. I cannot confidently say I think this character will do well in a team fight right now for Denial because, well, they're behind by 8,000 gold, and I just don't think anybody has their items.
Yeah, that's really unfortunate, as Denial still has a long way to go. They haven't even finished a Zeal onto Flappy Bearfish, while there is a static Shiv, Blade of the Rune King on that Vayne right now, and a Longsword, so we could potentially see him going for a Phage, or maybe another Vamp Scepter to...
Could be Phage, could be Last Whisper.
Oh, Last Whisper, that's what I was forgetting.
It could be Bloodthirster as well. There's lots of options with that Longsword. I think anything that either keeps him alive or increases his damage, so I don't think this is a wrong choice here in terms of item builds. Something defensive would not be the worst idea, though, because the enemy team is starting to... They have a lot of damage, but if he keeps himself alive and his team does have good protection, then that damage won't be that relevant. He can life point just with the Blade of the Rune King.
Yeah, and now we're seeing potential for a Baron fight or contestation, as MIA does have the Oracles, cleared out the Baron pit, dropped the ward of his own. MIA just barely missing that bubble on the recall. Going to see as Denial is grouping up over there. Trooper is stealing away the red buff, though, as Mega Zero eats the Spiderling, Neurotoxin comes out, and blue buff is going to get stolen in response. Ward's coming out, MIA clearing everything he can with that Oracles, and Prowley picks up that one.
That's a little blue buff coming out for Prowley. Like, they just need to, I think, make their play, because as the game goes further and further on, Ryze scales up so well. Vayne scales up incredibly well. Just the scaling is so powerful for Complexity that they can't really wait too much longer. When you wait 10 minutes from now, if Vayne is up and out on Graves, that's devastating. That is enough to win a game right then and there.
That's absolutely crazy. Vayne is probably one of the hardest champions to 1v1 with that Silver Bolt proc, the Condemn, the Tumbles, as well as the Final Hour giving the extra AD and that Stealth on Tumble. Just such a terror to deal with. While we do have Skipper Chris and Flappy Bearfish motioning on going towards bot, they might try to fight, but it was warded. They noticed the golems are gone. Nothing else going to come out of that. But we have Mega Zero doing what he wants with this game. Tiamat, Sunfire Cape, doesn't even have tier 2 boots right now. Locking the Iron Slurry and that Doran Shield. A tanky monster with that shield active as well is just so hard to deal with. And there are pings. He's split pushing. He's doing what he wants. There is no MIA or probably around. Ninja Ken pushing that mid lane and Chuper pushing bot.
Right, at this point, Complexity, they're okay just sitting around not doing anything because they're at least getting a lot of farm. Vayne's getting further and further ahead, and in the end, they can pick up dragons when they want to, they can pick up buffs when they want to. They can play a casual sit back and watch style game, and because of their comp, because of their late game, they will still be ahead.
Mm-hmm. Very true. And yeah, the late game is going to be huge for Complexity. Since they're so far ahead at this mid-game stage of the game, they are pretty much late game. They're at their builds. They're at their 2 items. They're at Rod of Ages, Spirit Visage for Ryze. They have almost a full build of Renekton. He's going to be building towards... He's got 1,400 extra gold. Maybe going to finish that Ramnus Hydra, but it looks like they are going to try to fight here. There is a Cocoon. He gets played into it. The box is going to stop Chuper, but the Tidal Wave comes out. Gonna knock up Elise right there. Gonna repel onto Chuper, but does not choose to fight anything else there. And damn, that was a lot of ultimates just blown.
And not really much coming from them, but if you look at the HP, no one took damage. Overall Complexity. Super Chris is low, did have to go back to base. Cleveland is low himself. Still hanging around though. Bubble does land on Nubby Pooh Bear.
Oh, the Runic Press and the collateral damage. He was trying to deny them. The ebb and flow coming out, healing and harassing. Nubby Pooh Bear gonna go back in to clear the wave. And, oh, Death Sentence gonna counter Trooper. Can they get anything out of that? The barrier forced out. The Runic President Ignite probably not gonna pick up that one. But they do end up killing Vayne. Inox secures that kill. But they're just diving through this team as Ninja Ken is tanky as hell. It looks like Repel from Elise gonna go into MIA. Mega Zero tanking that turret. They force the flash with the Cocoon as well. And it looks like Ninja Ken forced to go back after that one. But Scuba Chris gets caught out. Flashes away from the bubble, dodges that one. Nubby Pooh Bear can't dish out enough damage to take down Mega Zero, while probably Little and MIA are still sticking around. Flappy Bearfish and Nubby Pooh Bear defending as much as possible. Quick drop from Bearfish going to get him away from Ryze, and yeah, what an interesting fight coming out for Complexity. They just dove that tower with a huge advantage.
And they didn't pick up, all that much from it, but still, their team is so far ahead. Ryze is dealing ludicrous amounts of damage right now. We haven't seen him in a long time. He was never really the focus of any fight, but kind of the guy who got ganked as a different fight went on that the team won. But, gank him 2v1 4 times, he still got his farm. He still has DPS, and Ryze kind of barreling out of control. Vayne did die, but she got caught out in one of the worst ways possible.
Yeah.
She tumbled into a death sentence, which means no tumble cooldown was available even after the death sentence ended. And she also was being CC'd and dying when the fight started.
That was a really bad spot for Cheaper, a little bit of unfortunate positioning coming up, but he did get caught out. It was a good death sentence from Glebe Garbu, as well as Cocoon from Scuba Chris and Charm. But now we have no vision for Denial right now. They're going to give up this dragon, secure another nice, hefty gold lead for the side of Complexity, going to be about 10,000 gold at this point. While Inox is getting chased by Mega Zero just a little bit. No, he chooses to clear the wave, and we're going to see wards drop by Denial. While Tidal Wave comes out, Darkness gets popped. Are they going to go in? Nubby Pooh Bear sells one more dash, does get the Dust Bringer onto him, but looks like Chuper gets caught up by a Charm. Gonna chase the final arrow, tumble, but gets denied. Nubby Pooh Bear lives just barely, but forced his ultimate and his flash.
I gotta say, I love Nami Pooh waiting on everything, waiting for the ultimate just to be a little bit more obnoxious, but, that's kind of the thing with the way Complexity is playing right now. They're not going for big objectives, they're not going for huge pushes, and when they are, they're not necessarily playing safely. They're just kind of sitting around and waiting, and that's okay. They haven't gotten a kill in a while, they haven't gotten a huge one-team fight in a while, but if they just, waste their time of Denial, get into a late game, let Vayne keep getting items up on Graves, then alright, they could just send Vayne in and win. Vayne died in one fight so far, and it was a pretty bad fight for Vayne. She should not, if you're getting hit by a death sentence in close range as Vayne, then you're probably not going to win that fight. Mega Zero is being caught out. Can they do anything with this?
He's not being caught out right now. He's actually just going to turn it around, activates Dominance. They're chasing after Bleak Globber. He picks it up with the auto attack. That Tiamat going to help out a lot. Scuba Chris can't repel to anywhere. Does get taken down by the Blade of the Rune King active from Chuper. And now Blue Buff and Baron are going to be the next targets for Complexity.
Nice little trap being set out, and I gotta say, I don't think Denial can do much for this. They need to make a big play. They need to make a big play now. Baron now down to about 8,000 HP, down to 7,000, just being spread. The Vayne damage is insane on Baron, and I think Denial, I don't know what they can do now. Vayne's going to pick up that Baron buff. She's going to be hard to kill. The rest of the team, where it was already doing very well, it's now stronger, and the gold lead up to 12,000 gold. 12,000 gold is huge for a gold lead.
And we do have the items being finished off. Looks like a Bilgewater Cutlass coming out for Ninja Ken. Going to be building that Blade of the Rune King. While Last Whisper was just finished by Trooper. So he is going to be dishing out a ton of damage, as well as having a red pot for some extra HP and attack damage. But there's the final hour activated. He's going to chase after Inox. He's got that red buff. Going to tumble in. The dodge gets activated. Darkness gets popped as well. Going to send everything onto Inox and take him down. Ninja Ken secures that kill and saves his teammate as well. And looks like Mega Zero just going to proxy farm behind the turret and in the base, so not scared of anything, just doing what he wants. Has that Ravenous Hydra, has all the items. The Cocoon is not connected. The Lantern comes out from Glaru, but yeah, looks like MIA actually getting caught out. It looks, no, Exhaust comes out, the dash comes out, a bubble. MIA actually is gonna try to live through this one. He's gonna live. Shutdown goal gonna go to Brawley. Wow. Beautiful play by MIA.
I saw a play, lands the bubble, lands the ultimate, just long enough, barely long enough to get the rest of the team in position, to get the Ryze Room Prison on, to get the Cooper Condemn up, as Mega Zero might finally go down here. He does use the ult. Is he going to be able to escape this?
Yep, Canister comes out, the slow comes out as well. Red buff from Flappy Bearfish, gonna keep chasing after this one. Gonna get the quick draw reset. Glow gets completely destroyed. Flappy Bearfish is gonna keep chasing, but Mega Zero gonna slice and dice through him. He's waiting for his cooldown, might try to turn around on this one. Nope. Looks like quick draw and red buff are too much for him to deal with, while bot tier 3 is falling. Scuba Chris comes in with those home guards, and Cocoon connects on the Probably, gets the venomous bite. The tower is focused down by Trooper, and they're going to choose to disengage from this one as Repel comes down. Probably's going to turn around, has the blue buff, throws out all the abilities. There is Trooper coming in with the final hour activated tumble and auto attack to make the kill. Inox going to dodge everything that he can, but Ninja Ken is there. Bilgewater Cutlass gets activated, double kill for Trooper, and most likely Inhibitor, while MIA and Probably are going to try to zone away everybody else. Bubble doesn't connect. Canister comes out, the Charm doesn't connect. Abbott and Flo going to heal up Probably low just a little bit, and now we can see them rotate towards that mid lane.
The Inhibitor is down. They can just keep pushing, keep being aggressive. No Jax for 28 seconds, no Elise for 15 seconds. It's like, alright, they don't have Mega Zero over the side of Complexity, but Mega Zero has mostly been a 1v2 to 3 champion.
Ooh, the flash play, the Charm connected onto MIA. He's going to ebb and flow and heal out of that one. Destin is connecting onto Ninja Ken, but Nami Poo are just deciding to go back with that ultimate. Flashing from Probably, he gets the Runic Prison Ignite, takes him down. There's the Darkness being activated. He looks like he's going to go into Gleam. Glarblue pick him off. Oh, there is the barrier coming out from Flappy Bearfish while Scuba Chris flashes in. Repel, Venomous Bite, shut down for Scuba Chris on top of Trooper. While Mega Zero, the hero, is here to turn around. Bubble doesn't connect. Gonna slice and dice through those spiders that just disappeared. Doesn't get the reset. The Tidal Wave comes in. Maybe gonna connect. Nope, everybody's strafing away from that one on the side. Scuba Chris stays alive, and that's a Thornmail on Mega Zero.
Mega Zero is not dying to any physical damage. Flappy Bearfish can't do a thing. Jax can't do a thing. His attack speed will eventually just kick him in the butt. But, you know, like you can see from Denial's team comp, if they hadn't fallen so quickly behind, they had a really good shot. Like Jax, he's surviving against Vayne, and of course he does have Counter-Strike, but, you know, that's all he needs. He just needs 1 or 2 seconds just to kill Vayne, and if he had more items, it'd be close to it. But he can't apply any pressure. He's forced to run away from Renekton and apply his dodge ASAP because the threats are just too big right now.
Yes, they are humongous at this point. That Vayne now having a BF sword has the Last Whisper. The armor penetration going to come through. Static Shift activation from that passive is huge. Chain Lightning coming out from there. And the Blade of Rune King to top it off, as well as that Negatron Cloak. While the Archangel Staff is being stacked up by Probably on that Ryze. It is at 600 of 750 at this current moment. Going to try to stack it up into a Seraphi's Brace with that Void Staff and Spirit Massage for a little bit of resist. Then Mega Zero, nothing else to say about him. He is just a huge tanky monster and cannot be 1v1 or 2v1 at this point, I assume, because he is huge. So it's going to be really interesting to see if Denial can hold off this next series of a split push or complete dive of the mid and top turrets.
They're already down at 1 inhibitor. They can't really give up a fight. That bottom in lane is so pushed in that if they do lose a fight, it wouldn't be surprising to see Complexity just rotate towards bottom, push in the Nexus towers, and win. But no, they need to do something. Their team is just getting worse and worse. And Mega Zero is hit by a death sentence, but nothing does come of it.
He doesn't care. He does not care. He's like, pull me in, I'll fight you all. He does not care at this point. Well, Scuba Chris and W2D2 are trying to hold off everything. The ward gets cleared by that Oracles. And now it looks like they're going to try to go in. Flay connects on the Ninja Ken. A lot of damage coming out onto him, but he's just still taking the box. The Burdick present knocking up Glebe Glarber with that tide away from MIA. The condemn into the wall for W2D2. Are going to zone his Hourglass to that one. Bubble just barely missing. He's going to flash away. Pops the ultimate. Gonna look to go in, but the E from Ryze bouncing back and forth between Graves picks up the kill into W2D2. Probably a little good job with that E. I didn't think he was gonna follow him through the ultimate, but now they're gonna get the inhibitor and maybe try to secure the game. As there's 2 people dead, but I think Denial can hold. Excuse me, I take all that back.
They can try and hold. They might be able to, but they're just kind of prolonging the inevitable. As no, they're just getting farther and farther ahead. Scuba Chris trying to do something. Will it be enough though?
It looks like they're going to be able to take it down. They cannot hold this one off. Flappy Bearfish going to get auto-attacked by everybody. The ability is being spammed out from Ryze. He's life-stealing too because of that ultimate being activated. Spell vamping, excuse me. And now we see the Spider Link coming out. Not going to choose to chase this one. And Baron is going to be up relatively soon. We could see them rotate to that one after this huge push they just did for 3 inhibitors.
I mean, 3 inhibitors, they can pretty much do what they want. They need to wait for the Super Creeps to show up first, but you know, if they leave the enemy base alone, Super Creeps will push in. If they go to Baron, Super Creeps will push in. And of course, 3 lanes down with Super Creeps will take out just everything so quickly. The Nexus turrets, any support that tries to defend. They need someone who is strong, able to DPS down high HP targets, can also wave clear. So if they want to fight over on the side of Denial, they'll have to leave someone like Flappy Bearfish behind and just roam 4v5, which is so dangerous.
Yeah, and I just looked at the timer, and the Baron is going to be up in about 40 seconds, so we will probably see them go for that one, as they are all motioning towards that one, while Ninja Ken solos the dragon. And yeah, just everybody from the side of Denial is still forced into the base. The double super minions being spawned with all 3 inhibitors being down, so that's enough. That's tough enough to deal with for the side of Denial. And yeah, gonna be another Baron up complexity for this next fight.
And the Baron up complexity, what can stop them? I think Denial just needs to rush complexity at Baron and just pray they catch them with their pants down, because right now it's nothing. There's just nothing they can do to stop them. I do not know how they can kill Vayne, kill Ryze, and kill Ninja Ken without Mega Zero Ninja Ken just eviscerating them. I don't know how they can get past tanky champions, let alone get to the super high DPS in the backline.
We'll see if they end up doing that one, as there is that Baron going down. Gonna be fresh for them. There is a 20k goal lead, excuse me, for the side of complexity, and this is just a matter of time before complexity just completely tries to steamroll through this base of Denial. They can just shove down the turrets. There's the Darkness being activated. Going into the Flappy Bearfish. It looks like the dog was scared of that one even. The Tidal Wave doesn't connect. The Fear connected though. There is the Lancer coming out, but it's not going to be enough. Oh, the collateral damage picks up 1 kill into MIA, but they're just getting shredded down. Looks like this is going to be game in favor of complexity over Denial, as they're just going in. They Zoe's Hourglass for W2D2 gets activated. Triple kill for Prowley. No pentakill, unfortunately. There is a 4th kill, but Super Chris isn't going to sacrifice himself to Prowley. And that's game 2 for the Mobafire Challenger Series.
A dominating performance coming up from complexity, enough to scare a dog. As I mean, it was that last fight. It was a quick fight, but it was just a steamroll. Their team is just too far ahead. The damage from everybody just ridiculously high at this point. It's like, all right, cool. You have some items on Jax. You finally finished your gunblade. You can do something, but in the end, like, just look at the builds coming out here. Vayne, what did she finish the game with? A QSS, a BF Sword, Blade of the Rune King, Last Whisper, and Static Ship. That is so much damage for the 35-minute mark. That is almost an endgame build. It's a cheaper endgame build, but it's still almost an endgame build. It's almost 6 items, and that's just so much damage coming out from Vayne.
There's really nothing else I can say about this game. Complexity abused their advantages. They knew what they were doing. They were controlling dragons. They controlled 2 Barons out of that whole game, doing a really good job pressuring everything and taking over Denial Esports.
I mean, that first blood, I think the first blood sets it all up. That first blood was clean. They let the Ahri that can easily escape the gank pass just to go ahead, wait for the Thresh that is going to die if he walks by them. And they took a risk, they took a gamble, it paid off, and it kept going from there.
Yeah, it was a really good job. So we see Complexity taking it